Welcome to another episode of the Founders Lounge. Today, I get to chat to a founder who I have actually known for quite a few years. She participated in one of the Startup Weekend Women for Women that I hosted back in 2019. And then I've also come across and been part of her journey in some of the other programs that I have run in personal development. So today I chat to Camille Socquet-Clerc, who is the founder of Bloom Impact Investing. She will run us through her journey from ideation, from when she first had the idea, right through to where she is today. And she's at that start, or the end of the start, or the end of the first phase of growing a company, and the very beginning of the second phase, which is the growth and scale phase. I really hope you enjoy my discussion with Camille. So we have another episode of the Founders Lounge today, and I get to speak to Camille from Bloom, who is going to explain to us what her business is all about. We've actually met a couple of years ago, I think, on a program that she participated in as a founder to look at introducing routines and habits in her lifestyle as an entrepreneur. So I'm really interested to see, where are you at now? Maybe give us a little bit of an insight to what Bloom is, and then we'll sort of go back to the beginning and find out how you started.
Okay, thank you so much, Peta, for having me. So Bloom is a Fintech company with a climate impact mission. So our goal is to make climate impact investing easy and accessible. And how do we do this? So we offer a simple mobile investment app that let people invest in clean energy and clean tech. So that's what we do.
And so this app, Camille, is it in the market now?
Yes, it's live since it's been a month, so it's all fresh.
Yes,
and we have our first customers, and yeah.
And is it on iOS, Apple, and
yes, it's available on all app stores. Yeah.
Yep. And so obviously getting into this space, you had a passion for, was it investing or was it climate change? Which was the bigger driver for you to get started?
Yeah, it's a great question. So finance is not my background. So that was a steep learning curve. My passion was climate impact, and I spent 10 years in digital marketing and e-commerce before taking that shift. And back in 2018, I read the 5th IPCC report. So we've heard a lot about it this year.
Yes.
But a couple of years ago, not many people knew what this acronym meant. But essentially, back then, it changed everything in my mind. I understood that we had 10 years left to address climate change, and I could not possibly do anything else with my life than working towards climate action. And it was a transition. I started working in the clean tech startup space with a company called Energy Lab. And this was where I got to sit with entrepreneurs and get a lot of inspiration and learn about the problem I wanted to fix. And along the way, I started to look to invest for myself, so my personal savings, into these beautiful businesses, and because I could see the business opportunity for clean energy, and I just couldn't do it. There wasn't anything for what I wanted to do. And
so as an investor, you were looking for opportunities to invest as an everyday person.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And right. You didn't find anything.
No, I didn't find anything. So everything was restricted to wealthy, sophisticated investor.
Got it.
And I thought, well, here's an opportunity. Here's a problem I want to fix. Here's the mission I want to have in life. And I think there's a gap in the market. And this is where I jumped head first into the issue, and I fell into the finance industry.
Yeah. Yep. But before that, no experience in finance at all. So how did you manage that? Like, did you reach out to people that were already connected?
Massively. Yeah. So I have a master's degree in business and marketing. So I had a foundation in terms of understanding finances at a macro level, but I never had a formal investing background. So how did I go about this? Well, I had a massive imposter syndrome, but that was a good thing.
Yes,
because it was justified, and I had to bridge this knowledge gap. So instead of signing up for an MBA I simply created a meetup group where, like yourself today, invited experts to learn about not only, I guess, to achieve two goals. First, to learn,
yes,
and I guess bring my knowledge up to speed,
yes.
But also to build. It was twofold. It was also an opportunity to build a community around the problem I wanted to solve, and it was really a disguised customer research at the same time. So it sort of like ticked a lot of things.
Yes. And what was the meetup group called?
It's called Impact Investing Australia and Sustainable
Did you
Finance
host the physical events here?
So there was one physical event, and then COVID happened.
But you kept going.
So we shifted.
Online,
absolutely. Yeah, we've done 26 of them.
Yeah.
So every fortnight and every month, I had at least one or two events. And I kept going, and it was hard work, and it still is.
Yes.
But the payback in terms of insights and network building has been marvelous. So no regrets there.
That's really interesting. I mean, I always talk to people a lot about the need, I suppose, for if you're starting something brand new, or a founder, an entrepreneur, is to build credibility in the industry or build an identity wrapped around you, first of all, as an individual, to build trust, connection, and to wrap a community around you before starting, or maybe
That's so
like you did, to build a community around it, but also you did it for two reasons: to build connection, to learn something. But did you find that you had built up trust in the industry, and that in its own right assisted you when you did go to launch a business, or maybe ask for capital, that you already had that identity?
Absolutely. Massively.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have gone to where I am now without this step. Yes. So I think it's crucial to often when we have an ambitious vision and it's slightly off our comfort zone, which is 95% of the time what entrepreneurship is, we have to have a road towards the person we need to become. Yes. And this was it for me. I knew I wasn't the person able, and I'm still not. I'm still growing into that person. And the first baby achievable step, before getting a financial license, before finding an investment manager, before building a fintech product, was to learn about the problem. Yes. And learn and really understand it intimately. And I think people start to take you seriously when you have a true, genuine community around you. Yes. Because that validates the appetite for the solution you're bringing. And this is the credibility bit that investors will ultimately judge you on, is my personal opinion.
I agree. It is all around the founder, your credibility. I was speaking to a group this morning with MIT founders around building that reputation as a founder. And we were talking about sending out monthly stakeholder updates and communicating to your stakeholders, or potential future stakeholders, or customers even, what you're doing, what you're planning on doing, how you're going, and using it as a monthly accountability tool to always get into the habit and implement the discipline of reporting on progress, good, bad, or otherwise. It's still always progress if you're sort of heading into the direction that you're wanting to go in. Did you do anything like that? I mean, I know you had your fortnightly accountability with the meetup groups, but did you do anything else with the broader community or with stakeholders to keep?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have 2 monthly updates. And I've started this a long time ago. So it started quite organically with a few mentors. So I got into, and that's hard work, but anyone who has helped me along the way, I've always thought that I owed them an update. So if they've helped me do a connection or break through something, I would let them know that I've used their feedback. I've done this connection. I've done whatever they've offered me to do. So that was the organic first bit. And then it transformed into a proper monthly update with, I call it the good, the bad, and the ugly, and then an ask. So I say, what have we done? What has worked? What hasn't worked? What is it that I'm really worried about?
Yep.
And then I highlight my key focus for the next month, and I ask for help. That's my framework every month. And I go to a list of stakeholders, which receives a light update, and now my investors who receive sort of like a more in-depth report, plus the financials of the business, of course.
Yes. And so obviously, like you said, numbers, finance wasn't your thing. And now here you are providing this on a regular basis with updates. You are running an organization which is all around investment and finance. How do you feel now? You mentioned before imposter syndrome, and I think this happens to everybody simply because of putting ourselves out there, continuously stretching our skills and capability as business owners and entrepreneurs. How do you feel now with your knowledge and where you are at? Do you still have a little bit of imposter syndrome creep in?
Yeah, always. I think, like I said, with an ambitious high growth business model comes the reality of never being quite the full person able to deliver what you want to deliver. So you have to live in this lack of comfort all the time, and it's about how can you find ways and people and solutions to patch those gaps. So it's always on.
It's always on.
Yes, it doesn't get any better. And if anything, I suspect it will grow because the more money, the more customers, the more investors, the stakes just only go higher.
They do. They do. And somebody said the other day that they don't believe in imposter syndrome. They say, she was saying, coming from the perspective of, she believes you should say, I'm unqualified to be here or to be doing this, but what do I need to do to become qualified? So to flip it from using it as an excuse, or I have imposter syndrome, or utilizing it as, a lot of people sort of use it as a fallback in maybe not being enough, opposed to flipping it to how can I become more qualified in this? What steps do I need to take? And it seems that you have strategically done that and continuously are doing that to get to the next stage. But I believe this is what you need to be doing as a founder anyway, continuously upgrading and upgrading your own internal knowledge and experience, but also the people around you. How are you going with attracting the right people to this mission and the big vision and your goals?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think, well, for Bloom, the anchor to attract the right people is the mission.
Yes.
And what I'm learning and what has been true to our business so far is that as soon as I connect with someone on the mission in a genuine fashion, and I can usually know it very, very quickly by just gut feeling and just, I don't know, you can just see whether the person really connects with the problem and the mission. That's the first tick.
Yes.
And if that's not there, then it's just not working. But to be honest, because we have a strong climate impact mission, a lot of people have come our way with this alignment. And then, but the next tick remains competence and ability to, help us grow and help us become better. So we've been very lucky so far. I think a lot of people have ticked both. And I would even go a step further by saying that we luckily almost attract people who are above our reach in terms of pay grade or because of this mission.
Yeah. So it really is about having a very clear vision on where you want to go, the impact you want to have, maybe not being as clear on how,
exactly.
The how comes later, but the why is very clear to attract the right people to you. So in regards to, obviously, so what's been the time frame from start until now? How long has it taken you to get to this point? Now you have an app in the market, you have customers using it.
Yeah.
When
long
did it
process.
start?
And it always takes twice longer than what you anticipate. So the idea was in my mind in 2019.
Okay.
And actually, I went to I pushed myself to go to a startup weekend, which you hosted, Peta, to pitch it for the very, very first time.
Was that the Startup Weekend Women?
Yeah, that's right. So this was my push to say, all right, I'm going to get it out of my mind.
I remember.
It's not ready, but let's work on it for a weekend and see where I land.
Just give it the 54 hours and see what happens.
Oh, sorry, I've just lost you for a second.
No, I said it's with those weekends, you can say, look, I'm just going to give it the 54 hours, which is the weekend event, and see what happens from there, right? But obviously for you, that was enough to go, okay, I've started the ball rolling. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. It's all about momentum. It's about taking those little small steps. And I think the worst thing you can do at that stage is be overwhelmed. I think one of the number one qualities of an entrepreneur at the beginning is the capacity not to get overwhelmed by the ambition and the late piece. You have to always come back to, what can I do today? What can I do tomorrow? What is the right next step? And really, really, really take it all back.
Yes.
Whilst also keeping the big grand goal and vision in mind. So 2019 vision, startup weekend. 2020, I went part-time at working weekends, working at night for a long time. Then I went part-time. And then early 2021, I went full-time, entered an accelerator that helped me take the leap in terms of this is solid. I have a proper business model in place. I can now really dedicate myself to it, which was still scary. And then my co-founder and partner went also part-time and then full-time. So it was all, we raised money in 2021 last year.
Yep. And
we launched in March this year. So it was a good 2 years, bit over 2 years effort to get there. But that's also because financial services, unfortunately, is an industry where you can't really launch a little MVP and see what happens.
No, when you're dealing with money, people's money, bank accounts, and everything to do with the behind the scenes security and identity, it's huge. It's a very, and so that seems actually quite fast considering. So it was a side project. You maintained your employment with your job until you got to such point where you obviously realized that you were juggling a lot of things, and to give it the headspace, you needed to step full-time into that. Did you need to get it to, wouldn't have been making any revenue because there's no product in market. So how did you
zero.
How did you fund this side step? Because this is a really big question for most people, is how do they take the leap and leave their job to step over here where there's no income, but you really need to spend your time there?
That's true. So at the beginning, I've basically bootstrapped. So we were only living on our savings. And the difficulty with Bloom is, unfortunately, we weren't able to sell anything. So with many business, you can actually sell things until you get to your full. And actually, that's one of the very first tasks you should get into, is try to sell whatever you're trying to do.
Yes.
Even if it's not perfect, even if you're not ready. And I wish I could do this with Bloom, but it wasn't that simple.
No.
We weren't able to be in market without a license. So we did events, which I had some sponsors for. So that was a way around, but this was no way supporting our startups and our cost of living. Then we had a little bit of help from an accelerator program.
Yes.
This is a great way to get a bit of cash to support not yourself, but the business you're running.
Exactly.
And then I just So
And how did you find?
essentially
How did you find out about the accelerator program? Was there an application process, or was somebody
yes,
guide you?
so I looked into, so having worked for Energy Lab, which was an accelerator program, I could see the value in doing this sort of process. And it was the UQ, so the University of Queensland program.
Yes, got it.
Yeah, that's where yeah. But it's hard, I think. I think it's best though to go into it with a very clear financial plan.
Yes.
I mean, personal finance plan. Otherwise,
how long can you last for?
It's too much stress. Your personal runway needs to be really clear, and you need to be very crystal clear about how much are you willing to invest in this business, but it really needs to be thought about in terms of an investment, because it's all about, yes, you might lose, yes, it might not work, but the upside, if it works, can be huge. So
how did you have that? Obviously you went into this with your partner is your business partner as well. So you would have, so this encroaches into your personal life, and obviously this needs to be a joint decision, because it's going to affect both of you. Is this something that you addressed over time, or maybe just started and then talked about it afterwards? How did you approach that? Because this is another big question for people, is how do you structure your personal life to enable this change to happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I was lucky that, we had nearly 10 years worth of working and savings, and maybe by my French background, we're quite frugal in the way we live. So we've had saved quite like a normal amount of money that some people might put into a house deposit. Well, that was our house deposit. Our company is your house. It's your house. It's a very risky house, but it's a house.
Yes.
In a way. So it was definitely a discussion we had to have, and we put in place some milestones. So we sort of said, all right, if we do this, we live on our savings, and we give ourselves until this point to get private investment.
Yes.
And we give ourselves until this point to get a small salary.
Yes.
I'm not paying myself nowhere near market rates, but it's about milestones.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll start paying myself at this point. I'll start paying my market rate at this point. So yeah, I think that would be my advice: having a clear but reasonable expectation about what you can earn.
Being able to communicate it too with each other, because nothing worse than one person having a vision of how you want it to be, and then 6 months down the track somebody else says, oh, hang on a minute, I thought we were doing this. So that clear, open communication, and they are the hard conversations to have, but
that's right,
save you a lot of pain in the long term.
That's right.
Know that you're on the same page.
And I think the question of finance needs to be framed around what you value.
Yes.
So do you value your monthly or fortnightly pay more than, and that's fine. That's really fine. I respect that. But to me, I value experiences and purpose more. I would give a highly paid job for purpose any day.
Yes.
Because I've actually been there. I've had the highly paid job. I know how it feels.
Yes.
And that's not what I want anymore.
Yes.
I'm happy I had it, but it's not what I want anymore. And I'm taking this risk, and and it's not comfortable to see seeing a very small paycheck when your friends are starting to buy houses and invest, and you can see that they're making progress.
It's a big thing. But like you said, if you don't have that conversation with yourself to go, what's important? Am I still on track? What is the bigger vision? Are you both aligned in that journey? And so what next? We're in market, there's customers, you've gotten through so many different difficult stages, which a lot of people don't quite get to there because of all the reasons we just spoke about. It's difficult, the misaligned values, the time that it takes, whether you can last that long, all of these things. But you've gotten there now, and you're in market and you have investment. What is the bigger picture? What would you love to see happen next?
Well, it's funny because it's been a long journey, but actually the hard work starts now.
It's just begun. It's just begun, hasn't it?
Exactly. So the hard work starts now because we need to grow, and that comes with I guess we've passed the step of validation, prototyping, MVP, first customers, awesome.
Yes.
Now the leap is, can this business be sustainable and can it break even to a place where we generate revenue and ultimately in a few years profit for our investors and a lot of value for our customers and a lot of impact for our mission.
Yes.
So what's next is scaling in Australia and growing our team and going into a second fundraise actually starting now.
Yes, this is what always happens, isn't it? You just finish raising, you're like, hang on a minute, right. We need to grow, so we need more. Did you expect the second fundraising to be happening so soon?
Yes.
You knew that, yeah.
It was all part of the plan. And I'm really glad we've actually I think women founders are well known for being very conservative. And I'm bang on in that mark. So I've been very...
Plus being French and plus being frugal. You've got it all going for you.
Exactly. So I was wise with the money I've been given, and I stretched our runway quite well. So, you know, we've lived and developed and for over 12 months with the amount we've been given almost a year ago. Yes. So I'm really proud of that, and we're exactly where we're supposed to be. So we're in a good position. But yeah, it feels like we've just finished. It's not the case, but it feels like we've just...
that version of you as that founder, now you step into the next shoes, right?
Exactly.
The next set of shoes to grow into. So let's talk about your personal development for a minute. Like you mentioned early on, you needed to obviously grow into the person that you needed to be able to execute on this business. Who do you need to grow into now? I mean, obviously the core essence of you is the same, but as far as ability, skill set, maybe, is there more resilience you need to build up? What sort of things are you looking at personally to stretch yourself to grow into?
Oh, it's a great question. I have a little thing on my desk right here. So there's 3 things.
What is it telling you to do?
I have unwavering faith, laser focus, and extraordinary effort. So I love that. I think this is the 3 things
I'm writing it down.
I continuously need to grow. So that faith needs to always grow stronger, and that's always
faith in you, or faith in the product, or faith in
both. And yeah, self-confidence is always a challenge for me and needs to be worked on all the time. The laser focus is a big one. I'm a people pleaser, and this is horrible. It's it is not a quality. It is not a quality in business, and it is not even in life.
No. To some degree, but absolutely. I 100%. And it means that you get very distracted thinking about meeting other people's needs before your own.
Yeah, that's right. So laser focus is one. So ability, like a stronger ability to say no, a stronger ability to negotiate, a stronger ability to push forward for our convictions. Yeah, because I've been in the first phase of the startup, which is natural. You take in a lot of feedback from customers, from mentors, but there's a point where you need to turn off that tap a little bit, and you have to go, and you have to...
Yes.
So this is where...
And the third one was?
Extraordinary effort.
I love that. So there's effort, and then there's extraordinary effort.
Yeah, so
paint a picture for me. What does that look like?
Extraordinary effort. It means that you need to multiply yourself somehow. Okay. You are just one person, you have one life, you have one set of friends, you have one partner.
Yes.
How on earth can you do all these things? Well, you have to find a way to not explode in the process. And you need to so it takes an extraordinary effort in terms of thinking through how to spend your time wisely whilst managing your energy and your steam, because it's very much a marathon.
It's a marathon every day.
Exactly.
Every day. Yes.
Plus somehow you need to extraordinary in the sense of that magic that only you have, that you can bring to your business, and you need to somewhat find a way to consistently be in that zone.
Yes.
And also extraordinary because it's just just plain lots of hours.
It's effort. It's a lot of effort, right?
It's just time, doing the hard things,
energy, the physical, mental load, plus then emotional load. And like you said, to bring what is unique to you, which really is the ultimate core essence of the business, because that's why you created it. How do you get into that state where you can obviously perform at your best or be in a flow state or bring your greatest energy to it? Takes effort in itself to get there and to maintain that. So do you have some little tips on what you could share with people on how to maintain that core essence of self that has helped you?
It's a great question. So personally, physical activity is one. Otherwise, energy doesn't flow, and you get too much in your head, and that's a huge issue for entrepreneurs because there's so much on your mind. You need a physical way to get moving, whatever you like. That's one.
Yep.
It's pretty. I mean, everyone talks about physical activity. That's
but
pretty
is this
standard.
for you an everyday?
Yes.
Yep.
And to me, going into nature, that sounds super cliche, but it reminds me why I work so hard, and it's linked to our why. So whenever I'm in the forest, I'm like, this is why I'm working for.
Absolutely.
Just bringing back to
save this,
things.
to maintain it, right? So that's your core mission.
Yeah, exactly. And then bringing, and that's also something I'm working on at the moment, is bringing some fun. So it can get very serious.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Sorry, I'm just going to close the window so we can hear each other.
Yes.
Sorry for that.
That's okay.
It can get very serious. So how can we not forget to have fun in the process? And to me, it has been just, going to a cheeky music festival.
Yes.
I'm not, having wild weekends every month, but I want to look back on those years with a few really good memories, and not feel like, oh my God, what have I done? I've just worked. I haven't done anything else.
Absolutely, I agree. And you feel you're actually managing to maintain all those things at the moment, like still getting out, doing your exercise, having that personal satisfaction of music festivals or events?
It's not too bad, but it's hard.
It requires effort in itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's not much time for rest, I have to say. If you want to maintain a social life and a good personal relationship with your partner, if you have one, I think me time has been a bit sacrificed in the process.
Yes,
but you gotta, sometimes things have to give. So
I agree. There's sometimes you'll be out of balance, and then, but it's for a reason. And then it's, as long as you're aware of that and know at some point how to bring it back into alignment. I think it's when things go unnoticed, or when things become out of alignment and they go unnoticed for a while, I think that's when it starts to become a problem. But like you said, there's payoff. So there's a payoff to weekends doing things you want, and there's payoffs to obviously running a business which is high growth and with a large global impact goal, which you have. So just to finish off the conversation, I think it'd be, obviously you are French, you are living here in Queensland. Whereabouts in the world? I'd love to ask people what their most favorite place in the world is that you've been to, and then also your most favorite the place that you would like to go to the most that you haven't visited yet.
Okay, so probably the most magical place I've been was on top of the Mont Blanc, which is the highest peak in Europe.
Yes.
And that was with my my dad, my sister, and my partner. So it's just big mountaineering, 2 days worth of climbing to get at the top, and so that was really, really magical.
Amazing.
And the place where I would love to go, so many. And with COVID, the list has grown longer.
I think this is the same for everybody who's the list got longer because more time to think about it, more frustrated moments.
I would love to go to Nepal.
Yes.
To hike in the mountains.
Yes. Well, you have to put that one on the list, obviously. That sounds amazing. And I really look forward to what you do next and how you grow this for you personally, how you grow through this next phase, but also to see what Bloom does and the impact it has on the world. And I look forward to becoming a customer. I'm very excited about the product, and like you have an interest in wanting to actually invest in things that are going to change and shape our future, and also the future for me and my family. And the fact that you've enabled that, or have empowered us everyday people to be able to have an impact. Thank you for that. It's such a gift. And I hope that it grows to be everything that you want it to be.
Oh, thank you.
But that's the end of our chat, and I will include in the show notes and the links on where people can find you, and how to download, obviously where to find, obviously in the App Store. Is there anything else that you want to share with people about your mission or your goals, or other than that, just follow along on the journey and see what you do?
Yeah, I guess one more comment and food for thought for whoever's listening to this recording. I would just say, if you have concern about climate impact and climate change and how you can scale your impact, like I did back in 2019, looking at your finance is a great place to start. And I'm not saying this to push Bloom, but I'm just encouraging anyone who cares about our planet to think about their finance, because this is a place where you can really scale your personal impact. Recycling, composting, all of these things, this is great, keep going. But your banking, your superannuation, your investment have a huge impact on the world. And shifting this towards a sustainable option, no matter, and I'm not recommending any product here, but have a look at this. This is an easy, scalable way to have a positive impact. That's just my last word.
I love that we ended on that. I love it. And it's such a strong, impactful message, because like you said, we can do all of the things that do contribute and make a difference on an everyday basis, but probably it's easy sometimes to just stay the same in other areas. And for our finances and where we're putting our dollars is one of those areas that definitely needs to change, I think, as well.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Camille, for chatting with me and spending the time with us today. And I really do wish you all the best with your business. And also hoping that you get to Nepal at some stage in the very, very near future.
Thank you. Likewise. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I always feel so privileged being able to talk to founders like that and hear about their stories from the beginning. The key takeaway for me, there were so many, but I can't go past Camille's little vision that she has on the wall, which are 3 daily reminders to always show up for herself, to always be aligned with her mission. And those 3 key takeaways for me were unwavering faith, laser focus, and extraordinary effort. I hope that you took a lot away from that discussion just as much as I did. And if you did want to follow along with Camille's journey and follow the Bloom Impact Investing's journey and what they're doing next, they have a myriad of presence, different social accounts. So on their own website is bloom-impact.com. Their Instagram is bloom_impact. Facebook, you can find them at Bloom Impact Investing. LinkedIn, it is obviously Bloom Impact Investing if you look under for companies. And she does have a Twitter account, Bloom_impact. If not, just reach out. We can plug you in. We can connect you. I will include all of those links in the show notes, and I'll include them in the description to this video here on YouTube as well. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Founders Lounge.